At the beginning of the drama, we see the protagonist, Liang Yao, in the swimming pool room of ACE University, a school known for its wealthy and prestigious students. Liang Yao and his friends are bullying a fellow student by forcing him to stand naked above the pool, demanding that he jump into the freezing water. At that moment, the heroine, Momo, arrives with her close friend, Xiao. Momo walks into the room, stands in front of Liang Yao, and tells him she's had enough of his bullying and disgusting behavior, and that she won't allow him to do this again. Liang Yao mocks her and turns his back, preparing to push the boy, but Momo pushes Liang Yao into the water instead and runs off quickly with Xiao. Momo also uploads a video, filmed by Xiao, of the entire incident to the university's official website, under the title, "Watch the famous Liang Yao's scandal." The next day, Liang Yao walks into the campus with his friends and notices that everyone is staring at him. When his friend shows him the video circulating on social media, he brushes it off, saying he doesn't care what that girl did, and that this surely won't affect his popularity among the girls at university. But just 1 second later, Liang Yao receives a call from his father, who scolds and curses him over the video, saying he has brought shame to the family and that things definitely won't end well because of the trouble he keeps causing. His father threatens to punish him, but before he can say more, Liang Yao cuts him off and says he'll give up his credit card and doesn't want any money from him for the time being. On the other hand, we see Xiao telling Momo that she's scared of the consequences of what they did, since Liang Yao is the most famous, handsome, and feared bully at the university. She goes on to share some stories of how Liang Yao had previously taken revenge on people who dared to cross him. But Momo tries to calm her down, saying that she sees him as nothing more than a foolish guy. However, the real trouble Momo faced didn't come directly from Liang Yao, it came from his fangirls, who began sending her threatening messages. Things escalated when, on her way to the bathroom, a group of girls dumped noodles over her head. Momo storms over to the basketball court to confront Liang Yao, assuming he was the one encouraging his admirers to attack her. She yells at him, demanding that he make the girls he sent back off. Liang Yao, confused, asks what exactly she's talking about. He genuinely hadn't told anyone to do anything. But Momo doesn't believe him and tells him that from this moment on, he's made her his enemy. Momo returns home and learns from Xiao that the girls are planning to throw water balloons at her the next day after design class. So she sends Liang Yao a message, telling him that she intends to meet him tomorrow and will give him proof that his fangirls are bullying her. The next day, Liang Yao shows up at the designated spot and stands in front of Momo, asking her where the proof is. The girls are a bit late in throwing the water, and Momo is about to leave, but Liang Yao grabs her arm and stops her. At that moment, the water balloons fall on both of them, and Liang Yao accidentally kisses her forehead. The scene turns out to be very romantic, and the bullies witness it, furious and stunned. The leader of the fangirls scolds the girls who pulled the prank, blaming them for bringing Liang Yao and Momo closer together. Meanwhile, Liang Yao's friends joke about the whole incident, laughing and saying that he's now the talk of the university and has definitely fallen for the girl. But Liang Yao tells them to stop this nonsense immediately. Before he can leave, the fangirls, led by Nian, his childhood friend, block his way and apologize, saying they didn't know he was with Momo at the time. Liang Yao harshly rebukes her, telling her he never gave her permission to do what she did and that she has no right to bully anyone on his behalf. After he walks away, Liang Yao's friend comments that Nian is beautiful, but never uses her brain. Her friends, however, try to reassure her, saying that Momo is no competition. After all, Liang Yao has known Nian since they were kids, and they feed her confidence that she still stands a chance, perhaps too much of it. Nian goes to Momo's room while she's working on a new design and tells her that Liang Yao belongs to her, and only her. Even if they're not together now, they will be soon, and she won't let Momo take him away from her. Then, Nian rips up the design Momo had been working on. Momo yells at her, saying that Liang Yao is the person she hates most at the university and that she doesn't care about him at all. She says she'll let go of all the insults and bullying she endured because of Nian, but she'll never allow her to destroy her work and belittle her efforts. A fight breaks out between the two before a teacher walks in and stops it. Momo stays in the design room all night to redo her project and have it ready by the next day. But she starts to feel uneasy, as if someone is watching her. She quickly finishes what she can and rushes out of the building, running as fast as she can. While walking through the dark path, a young man grabs her shoulder. When Momo turns around and sees his face, she realizes it's the same guy she saved from the bullying incident at the pool. She feels a little relieved, but the guy starts talking strangely, telling her that he likes her too. Momo doesn't understand what he's implying, so he tells her that she must have saved him because she likes him, and now he wants to confess that he likes her too. Momo tries to clear up the misunderstanding, telling him she only stepped in because she couldn't tolerate Liang Yao's behavior any longer, not because she had feelings for anyone. But the guy completely misreads her words and insists that she must like Liang Yao, because apparently, every girl a guy confesses to ends up liking Liang Yao. He begins approaching her in a threatening way. Momo tries to escape, but she falls to the ground and screams at the top of her lungs. Just then, another guy arrives, and kicks the stalker away, beating him up in defense of Momo. She looks up and sees that it's Liang Yao. He gently places his coat over her shoulders, calls security to deal with the guy, then carries Momo on his back and takes her to the nurse's room. Liang Yao cleans and bandages Momo's wound, telling her to stay put while he goes to get something. But Momo, still in pain, tries to apply betadine to her foot herself. Just as she reaches for the bottle, Liang Yao walks back in and grabs it from her, telling her it's the wrong medicine. He jokes that she must be colorblind, but Momo doesn't laugh. Liang Yao grows suspicious and pulls out a colorblindness test booklet to quiz her. However, Momo already knows the answers and gives all the correct ones. Still not convinced, Liang Yao asks her to tell him the color of his coat. She says it's yellow, even though it's actually gray. That's when he realizes she really is colorblind. Momo begs him not to tell anyone, explaining that she only has trouble with 3 specific colors and that it's not a big deal, but if word gets out, it could ruin her future, since a fashion designer can't be colorblind. She pulls out a sandwich and splits it with Liang Yao, offering to cook for him or do whatever he wants, as long as he keeps her secret. Liang Yao reminds her that, because of her, he cut off his dad's credit card and got into serious trouble with his family after she uploaded the video. Momo sincerely apologizes and promises to make it up to him however he wants. A little while later, they both realize it's too late for Momo to return to the girls' dorm. They won't let her in at this hour, and she has nowhere else to go. Liang Yao suggests she stay in the nurse's room until morning. He teases her, warning that the place is haunted, but Momo tells him his scare tactics won't work on her. She doesn't believe in ghosts. Liang Yao heads out but quickly changes his mind, worried that the creepy guy might come back for her. When he returns, he finds Momo hiding under the desk, frightened after hearing a noise at the door. Liang Yao laughs at her and mocks her a bit, then says he'll do her a favor and stay with her for the night. He gently covers her with his coat and lets her sleep on the room's bed. The next day, Momo rushes to Xiao and tells her everything that happened. Xiao says it's clear now that Liang Yao is actually a kind person, not the bully they thought he was, just a bit arrogant. But Momo insists she's not falling for his act. She believes he's only pretending to be nice so he can blackmail her about her colorblindness. That's why she decides she needs to get revenge on him first, before he has the chance to do anything. She starts digging through his social media profile to gather information, and she discovers one important detail. He absolutely hates spicy food and can't handle it at all. Momo invites Liang Yao and his friends to lunch as a way to thank him for helping her the night before. She serves only spicy food and remarks how, of course, as a sporty guy and a basketball player, he must love spicy dishes like all men do. Liang Yao's friends try to warn her that he doesn't eat spicy food, but Liang Yao, trying to protect his image in front of her, insists that he does. He begins eating, and the heat almost brings him to tears. His face turns red, and his stomach burns with pain, but he forces himself to keep going. Momo, on the other hand, is secretly enjoying the sight. Xiao tries to offer him some water, but his friends, trying to save his pride, say he's tough and doesn't need any. Momo silently laughs harder and harder as Liang Yao suffers in silence, wishing for just a single sip of water. After that incident, Liang Yao decides to get back at Momo, declaring that she's the one who started this war between them. He tells her that from now on, she'll have to follow his orders, or else he'll expose her colorblindness to everyone. One day, he tells her to skip her lecture and bring him a bottle of water. But when she hands it to him, he smugly tells her he's no longer thirsty and walks away, leaving her standing there on the verge of exploding while Xiao tries to calm her down. The next morning, Liang Yao calls her early and demands that she bring him breakfast to the cafeteria herself. Momo, determined to take revenge, adds 4 heaping tablespoons of salt to his soup. When she arrives, she sits beside him and says she just needs a little rest. Liang Yao instantly suspects something is off and figures she must have done something to the food. He grabs the sandwich for himself and tells her she can have the soup instead. Momo tries to refuse, but Liang Yao asks if there's a reason. Did she do something to it? With no way out, she's forced to eat the overly salted soup, spoon by spoon, while tears fill her eyes. Liang Yao watches with satisfaction, feeling like he's finally gotten his revenge. Liang Yao keeps assigning her more and more petty tasks, and Momo begins to feel completely drained. Eventually, he tells her to come to the basketball court and apply sunscreen to his arms so he doesn't get burned while playing. As she does, Xiao walks by and sees the scene. She immediately thinks Liang Yao and Momo look absolutely perfect together, like they were made for each other. Later, when Momo finishes, Xiao runs over to her and tells her to start thinking romantically about Liang Yao. He's rich, handsome, and they just look amazing together. But Momo scoffs, saying she hates that bully and could never ever fall for someone like him. She tells Xiao to stop talking nonsense once and for all. A few seconds later, Liang Yao walks up to Momo and asks her to wipe the sweat off his face. Momo, flustered by how close he is, quickly throws the towel at him and says, "I'm not your maid." She tells him she won't tolerate his bullying any longer and refuses to obey any more of his orders. If he wants to tell everyone about her condition, let him. Then she throws the towel right in his face and storms off. Liang Yao is left stunned by her outburst, silently watching her walk away in anger. Meanwhile, Nian is standing nearby with a towel and a water bottle, and she notices the look in Liang Yao's eyes as he stares after Momo. Her heart sinks. She knows things aren't heading in a good direction, and it's becoming clear that Momo might actually steal him from her. Just then, Liang Yao's 2 friends show up and tell Nian that her fears are completely valid. It's obvious now that Liang Yao has fallen hard for Momo. Furious, Nian swears to make Momo pay. Nian carries out her threat the very next day. When the students enter the design room, they find papers torn, fabric materials destroyed, the entire place is a mess. The only untouched area is Momo's desk. With cunning precision, Nien convinces the teacher that Momo must be the one who did it, since she's the only one who's been late submitting her designs recently. The teacher believes her and punishes Momo by assigning her to clean the entire room. Xiao helps Momo, and the two girls go to the university storage area to get cleaning supplies. At that moment, Liang Yao is walking by with one of his friends when he spots Momo and Xiao, and notices a car heading straight toward Momo. He tries to rush over and warn her, but another young man named Chen suddenly steps in front of Momo and pulls her to safety. Momo looks at Chen, shocked that he came to her university. It's clear she knows him very well. Liang Yao also recognizes him. Chen is the son of his father's business rival. But more importantly, for the first time, Liang Yao feels something unfamiliar burning inside him: jealousy. Chen offers to help Momo with the cleaning, and before Momo can even respond, Liang Yao jumps in and says he'll help too. He's clearly burning with jealousy, especially when he hears Momo telling Chen that she'll make his favorite soup later, the one she always used to prepare for him. Liang Yao immediately remembers the salty soup incident and feels a surge of irritation. How could she treat him so terribly, yelling at him and avoiding him like he's the worst person ever, and then turn around and treat his rival with such kindness? While cleaning, Liang Yao notices a keychain on the floor, one he recognizes as belonging to Nien for a long time. That's when it clicks. Nien is the one who trashed the design room. Liang Yao confronts Nien and hands her the keychain. Nien lights up, smiling and thanking him, thinking he came to her out of care. She gets excited, hoping he's finally about to confess his feelings for her. But Liang Yao shatters her expectations by bluntly telling her he knows she's the one who destroyed the room. He checked the security cameras and confirmed it was her. And worse, she falsely blamed innocent Momo. Shocked, Nien asks if he's really defending that stupid girl over his own childhood friend. Liang Yao replies firmly, yes, he is. He warns her that if she doesn't stop bullying Momo and stay away from her, he'll expose her to the entire university, along with the videos of what she did. Nien, stunned, asks if he's in love with that stupid girl. Liang Yao doesn't answer, because even he doesn't know why he's defending Momo, why he suddenly can't stand seeing her hurt, or why Nien's cruelty towards her makes his blood boil. But instead of responding, he tells Nien that unless she clears Momo's name and proves her innocence, he'll make sure everyone knows exactly what she did. Nien goes to the teacher, in front of all the girls in the department, along with one of her friends. The friend tearfully confesses that she was the one who ruined the room and falsely accused Momo. She apologizes while crying. Then Nien stands up in front of everyone and asks them to forgive her friend, saying that everyone makes mistakes and that people should be given second chances, even though she didn't share that opinion when everyone thought Momo was the one who did it. The teacher decides to forgive the girl. Xiao leans over to Momo and whispers that Nien is obviously behind it all, and she probably forced the other girl to take the blame. She doesn't fully understand why Nien would do that, but she admits she feels a bit relieved that it's over. Xiao wanted to expose Nien in front of everyone, but Momo tells her she doesn't care, what matters is that her name has been cleared. If Nien's friend is okay with taking the fall for her, then so be it, it's none of her concern. Deep down, Momo knows it was Liang Yao who convinced Nien to do it. Later, Momo asks Liang Yao to meet her. When he arrives, she thanks him for clearing her name in front of everyone. Liang Yao isn't surprised that she figured it out, she's smart, and he knows it. But he tells her that if she really wants to thank him, she should invite him to a homemade dinner. Momo smiles and tells him he actually deserves it this time. So the two of them go shopping together, picking out ingredients for the meal they'll cook. They head up to the rooftop of one of the university buildings and start preparing the food. Liang Yao brags, saying he's the king of grilling, and that whenever he goes on trips with his friends, he's always in charge of the barbecue. But Momo watches as he accidentally burns the meat over the flames, and she walks over with a smirk, gently pushing him aside. She tells him to leave the grilling to her, and he can handle stirring the soup instead. She laughs, teasing him as he reluctantly agrees. Momo hands the grilled meat to Liang Yao, who takes a bite and is blown away by how delicious it is. She feels a sense of pride seeing how much he enjoys her cooking. Liang Yao leans in and feeds her a bite himself, and as he does, he feels something unfamiliar, a warm, strange feeling he's never experienced before when he's around her. A few minutes later, a security guard shows up. Without thinking, Liang Yao grabs Momo's hand and the two of them take off running before they get caught. As their hands touch, Momo, too, feels something she can't quite explain, a strange flutter she's never felt before. That night, Momo couldn't sleep. Restless and wide awake, her thoughts kept returning to the rooftop. Meanwhile, Liang Yao, feeling bold, sends her a message asking if she'd like to have breakfast with him the next morning. Momo is stunned when she sees the message. She assumes Liang Yao is just trying to be friendly, wanting to form some kind of friendship, so she ignores the message completely, trying to run from her own feelings. Liang Yao, on the other hand, assumes she must have fallen asleep and that's why she didn't reply. Still, he can't stop thinking about her, wondering how he can get closer to her than he already is. The next day, Momo's teacher reviews her latest designs and tells her that the colors are completely mismatched, and that the designs don't look professional at all. Momo feels disheartened and leaves the room to take a walk around campus. She runs into Liang Yao, who notices her mood and walks over, asking why she looks so down and discouraged. Momo tells him what happened and says that people like her don't stand a chance at becoming fashion designers, and that she's seriously thinking about dropping out of university to pursue something else. Liang Yao urges her not to be so negative. He tells her that just because her teacher said that, doesn't mean she's right. He reminds her that she's truly talented, not just in choosing colors, but in drawing itself. And if she lets discouragement get the better of her, she'll never move forward in life. Momo listens and is somewhat convinced by his words, but the disappointment still weighs on her. So Liang Yao tells her they need to get rid of all her negative energy, and the first thing she has to do, he says, is cheer for him. That's how she'll let out all that built-up frustration. He takes her to the basketball court and tells her he has a game, and he wants her to cheer for him with everything she's got. Momo agrees and calls Xiao to come cheer with her. But just as they get started, Nian shows up and asks what she's doing there. Momo simply tells her that Liang Yao himself invited her. Then she begins cheering as loudly as she can, shouting at the top of her lungs, trying to release all her negative energy. Finally, she calls out Liang Yao's name in front of everyone. Liang Yao scores the winning basket right as she yells his name. He turns to look at her, and their eyes meet. They stay locked in that gaze for a moment, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Everyone around them sees the way they're looking at each other. The next day, Nian receives a message from the university administration informing her that she's been selected for an interview to represent the school in a design competition. She feels proud and immediately starts bragging in front of her classmates. But then Momo receives the same message and tells Nian that she's been accepted for the interview too, so she shouldn't get too full of herself, because she's going to win. Nian replies confidently that Momo doesn't stand a chance, and that she's sure the victory will be hers, no doubt about it. Later, Momo and Xiao return to their room and begin searching through their clothes to find a suitable dress for the interview. Xiao tells her she needs to put more effort into her appearance when facing Nian, so she won't be mocked. They agree to meet the next day to go shopping for a dress. But when Momo shows up the next day, she finds Liang Yao waiting for her. He tells her that Xiao let him know she was busy, and that someone had to come with Momo to help her pick the right dress color. Momo feels a little shy but agrees to go with him. Liang Yao takes her to an upscale boutique, and the two of them begin browsing through elegant dresses. Liang Yao is so struck by how beautiful she looks in one of the dresses that he compliments her, saying she looks absolutely stunning in it, so much so that he picks the same design in several other colors. Then he turns to her and says she'll have to pay, because his father cut off his credit card. Momo is shocked and tells him he brought her to this fancy store and now expects her to pay. Does he really think she's that rich, like he is? She tells him she's putting the dresses back and that they're going to run for it. And they do, both of them dart out of the store together. As they walk down the street, Momo tells Liang Yao she's going to take him to one of her usual shops. But she insists that he be the one to pick the dress colors carefully. In the end, Liang Yao picks out a pink dress, a color Momo actually dislikes, though she doesn't realize it's pink at first. Liang Yao continues choosing outfits for her, and she picks a neon green coat for him. Though it's a terrible color, he takes it anyway just because she picked it for him. Then he takes her to a toy store, and the two of them spend the rest of the day playing and having fun together. On the day of the interview, Chen sends Momo an elegant dress to wear for the competition. Xiao lays both dresses side by side and tells Momo that Chen's dress is much better. Momo explains that Liang Yao was the one who picked out her dress himself, but deep down, she also feels that Chen's dress looks better, so she decides to wear it to the university. However, when Momo arrives, she discovers that Nian is wearing almost the exact same dress. Nian immediately starts mocking her in front of everyone. During the lecture, the professor uses the situation as an example to show how the same outfit can look different on different body types. As the two girls stand side by side, Nian stands confidently, full of pride, convinced that she looks better. Later, when Liang Yao sees Momo in the dress, he tells her it's not better than the one he chose for her, and that she should have gone with his instead. Momo refuses, but as he keeps trying to convince her, he tugs at the dress's shoulder, just as Xiao walks in. She tells them she came at the wrong time, but Liang Yao quickly turns away and insists it's not what it looks like at all. Then he tells Momo the dress is torn now, and there's no choice left but for her to wear the one he picked. Liang Yao takes Momo himself to the interview location after she puts on the dress he chose for her. He encourages her, telling her he's sure she's going to give her best performance. Inside, she runs into Nian, who smugly tells her she doesn't stand a chance in beating her, that she's the one who's going to win today. During the interview, the judges ask Momo a few questions, and she remembers how Liang Yao kept cheering her on, telling her she was talented and amazing. With full confidence, she answers every question, and in the end, she ends up beating Nian. When she walks out, she finds Liang Yao still waiting for her outside. He asks how it went, and Momo pretends to be sad and says, well, it's all up to fate, but seconds later, she screams with joy and tells him she actually won against Nian. She throws her arms around him happily, and he spins her around in his arms in a very romantic moment. The next day, Xiao comes to Momo's room and tells her they need to find a model to draw before the deadline. The two girls quickly rush outside and stand in the middle of the university campus, announcing that they need a handsome guy with muscles for their next art project. A crowd of students starts gathering around them, and just then, Chen shows up with a bouquet of flowers, congratulating Momo on her win and telling her she truly deserved it. At that moment, Liang Yao arrives and feels jealous. He pretends to sneeze, saying he's allergic to flowers, then grabs the bouquet from her hands and throws it in the trash just to annoy Chen. But Chen has something to say that bothers Liang Yao even more. He reveals that Liang Yao's father spoke with his own father and said that Liang Yao would be sent abroad to study outside of China because of the trouble he keeps causing. After Chen leaves, Momo turns to Liang Yao and asks him if he's really going to travel. He replies that he doesn't know, he's just hearing about it for the first time, right here with her. In the end, the girls couldn't find a model to draw. A security guard approaches and tells them that if they can't find anyone, he'll volunteer himself. But then we see Liang Yao doing push-ups outside the room. Moments later, he walks in and tells Momo that if she needs someone, he'll volunteer to be her art model. He takes off his shirt and sits in front of the students so they can start sketching him. The problem is, Momo becomes extremely flustered and embarrassed, she can't draw properly at all. When the session ends, all the girls gather around Liang Yao, asking him to come back regularly and be their model. Seeing them so close to him, Momo starts to feel jealous. She finally admits to herself that maybe she really does have a crush on him. Later on, both Nian and Momo are selected to train at a fashion design company. On their first day, each of them is given a task to design and sew a dress, even if it's a simple one. Nian quickly starts scheming, trying to block Momo from finishing her task on time. She tells her outright that she's going to get her kicked out of this place. In the end, she traps Momo inside a storage room, then goes off to finish her own dress. When the manager asks about Momo, Nian pretends to be working hard and claims she has no idea where her teammate is or what she's doing. But Momo manages to send a message to her direct supervisor saying that she's locked inside the storage room. While waiting for someone to come open the door, she finds some leftover fabric and manages to design and sew the dress right there in that short amount of time. When her supervisor and Nian's manager arrive and see what she's done, she proves to them both just how talented and capable she really is. Later, Nian invites Liang Yao to lunch at the restaurant where she overheard Momo telling Xiao she would be going at that exact time. During lunch, Nian tells him she managed to convince his parents to return his credit card, on the condition that he agrees to study abroad. She adds that she's planning to travel with him so he won't feel bored there. But Liang Yao firmly tells her he's not agreeing to travel anywhere and doesn't want her to come with him or try to entertain him. As he stands to leave, Nian grabs his hand, right at the moment Momo and Xiao walk in. Momo sees them, and a wave of jealousy and anger washes over her. She immediately leaves, canceling her lunch plans with Xiao. When they both exit the restaurant, they find Liang Yao waiting outside, offering to give them a ride back to campus. But Momo flatly refuses and storms off, clearly upset. Liang Yao is left confused, not understanding what's going on, until Xiao explains to him that Momo saw him holding Nian's hand. She felt hurt and jealous, and now she sees him as just another guy who plays with girls' feelings. Later on, Liang Yao goes to his friends and tells them he has a friend who's going through a tough situation. He then explains everything that happened with Momo and Nian, asking for advice on what to do. His friends tell him to tell this friend that if he really cares about the girl, he should fight for her, and keep trying until she forgives him. Liang Yao keeps trying again and again until Momo finally agrees to go out with him to a restaurant. There, he tells her that Nian is the one who keeps chasing after him and forcing herself into his life, but he has no feelings for her whatsoever. At that moment, Nian happens to be there by coincidence and overhears everything they're saying. She immediately texts Liang Yao's mother, asking her to come right away. When Liang Yao's mother arrives, she storms over to where Liang Yao and Momo are sitting and yells at him, demanding to know if this is the girl who's stopping him from continuing his studies abroad. She says Momo is not on his level and tells him he will be leaving, whether he likes it or not, and that he must end this relationship immediately. Momo feels deeply embarrassed and is about to leave, but Liang Yao stops her. He turns to his mother and tells her that this is the girl he truly loves, and he has no intention of going abroad. His mother tells him he's disowned if he refuses to go. Liang Yao calmly replies that he doesn't care, he'll rent a small place and won't need their money. He tells her they won't be controlling his life anymore, then takes Momo's hand and walks out, leaving his furious mother behind as Nian tries to calm her down. On the way back, Liang Yao tells Momo that what he said to his mother was just to stop her from controlling his life, nothing more. He's visibly tense, but suddenly, he pulls Momo close and pretends to kiss her. Momo's heart starts racing, but Liang Yao quickly tells her not to move, his mother is watching them. Momo doesn't know whether she's more anxious from what's happening or simply heartbroken that he doesn't actually love her. Meanwhile, from above, Xiao watches the scene unfold and feels genuinely happy, thinking they really are kissing. The next day at work, Nian decides to get back at Momo. While snooping through her computer, she stumbles upon messages between Momo and Xiao and discovers that Momo suffers from color blindness. Feeling thrilled by this, she begins to harass Momo, asking her questions about colors in front of everyone, while Momo does her best to avoid her. Eventually, Nian switches the yellow color with a green one that's layered over a pink background, then exposes Momo in front of both managers, claiming that she has color blindness and that she would have harmed the company by placing pink over green. Momo admits in front of everyone that she does have color blindness, but insists she always does her work to the highest standard and that she's one of the best designers. As for the color choice, she explained she was sure that Xiao had picked yellow for her and doesn't know how the colors were changed. The manager tells her that while she is certainly talented, that alone isn't enough to continue working with them, and he fires her from the company. Momo leaves the building and goes to the bridge where she once stood with Liang Yao, the same place he encouraged her before. She's crying when Liang Yao shows up, telling her Xiao told him everything and that he knew she'd be here. Liang Yao hugs her as she cries, saying she's a failure and always will be, but he firmly tells her she's not a failure, that he believes in her and in her talent and that he's never going to leave her until she reaches her dream. Momo feels comforted and thanks him for being in her life, both him and Xiao. After that, we see Nian in a taxi with all the company's outfits, supposed to deliver them to the fashion show venue before it starts. She asks the driver to speed up, but he tells her the road is too crowded. Nian then gets a call from her manager warning her she'll be in serious trouble if she doesn't arrive immediately. Panicking, Nian jumps out of the taxi, running through the streets with the dresses in her arms. By chance, she spots Momo on her scooter and asks her for help. Momo stops and says she'll help only if Nian apologizes for everything she's done and admits that Momo is actually a strong, dependable girl. Nian does just that, and Momo drives her to the venue just in time. Nian thanks her sincerely, telling her she really is tough, supportive, and talented, even the manager knows it, and that one day she'll become a famous fashion designer. Momo is surprised by Nian's words and doesn't know what made her feel so guilty that she would admit something like that, but she feels deeply happy. After that, Momo receives a call from Liang Yao asking her to come to the university. When she arrives, she finds Liang Yao on the rooftop, where all her friends are doing a mini fashion show wearing the dresses she had designed before. Liang Yao tells her she's talented, that her dresses are amazing, and that this is just the beginning, the real show will be for everyone. Everyone celebrates happily, and Momo looks at Xiao and asks if she'd like to join her in starting their own fashion brand. Xiao agrees, and Momo feels truly happy, she's finally going to be in charge of her own work. Momo truly begins designing dresses with Xiao, and together they sew each piece by hand. They then go out with their friends to sell the dresses in the streets, trying their best to attract customers, but things don't go well, and they're unable to sell a single item. Later, Chen shows up and puts a hand on Momo's shoulder to encourage her, but Liang Yao quickly pushes it away. Chen then convinces Momo to apply for a job at his father's company, and she agrees. However, when she gets there, she's shocked as the manager hands her designs by unknown designers and asks her to make small edits to them and claim them as her own. Momo refuses, calling it theft, and storms out of the place. Chen soon gets a furious call from his father, scolding him and telling him not to bring any of his friends to the company again. This is a business, not a charity. Outside, Momo finds Liang Yao waiting. When he sees her upset, he assumes she was rejected and angrily says he'll take revenge on Chen. But Momo explains she was the one who walked out, they wanted her to steal designs, and she would never do that. Liang Yao tells her he's proud of her and promises to always support her. At that moment, Momo gets a call from Chen. He tells her his location and says he can't move. She realizes he's drunk and rushes to find him. When she arrives, Chen apologizes, saying he never meant for things to go this way. He just wanted to support her talent and hoped she'd realize how much he loved her, maybe even fall for him too. Momo steps back and gently tells him that he's dear to her, like a brother. Just then, Liang Yao walks in and scolds Chen for calling Momo when he's drunk. Chen snaps back that Liang Yao has no right to interfere in her life, but Liang Yao insists he does. He's her closest friend and has every right to protect her. Hearing Liang Yao's words, Momo suddenly becomes angry. Without saying much, she grabs a drink and gulps it down until she passes out. Liang Yao quickly carries her to his car, and while he's close to her, Momo pulls him in and kisses him. Liang Yao blushes and gets flustered by what happened, but deep inside, he's incredibly happy. Later, Liang Yao calls Xiao for help. When she arrives, she finds Momo dancing in the street and singing, clearly tipsy. Momo then grabs Liang Yao's shoe and declares it her prize. Neither Liang Yao nor Xiao knows what to do with her, and in the end, Liang Yao has no choice but to go home, wearing only one shoe. The next morning, Momo wakes up to find herself cuddling Liang Yao's shoe. Confused, she asks why, and Xiao reminds her of everything that happened the night before. As the memories come rushing back, Momo becomes mortified and decides to go to university the next day in disguise, hoping she won't run into Liang Yao at all. But to her surprise, Liang Yao spots her and calls out to her in front of everyone. Panicked, Momo tries to ignore him and runs off, but Liang Yao doesn't chase after her. Instead, he gathers their friends and tells them he wants to help make Momo's dream come true. He shares his plan to start a small company just for her, but this time, they need to find her a little shop, and he'll cover all the expenses. Liang Yao tries to tell Momo about the project, but she's still embarrassed by what happened and keeps running away from him every time she sees him. Finally, Xiao tells Momo about everything Liang Yao did for her, and Momo decides it's time to stop hiding. She asks Liang Yao to help her promote the project, starting with taking a picture of her wearing one of her designs. But just as they begin, she slips. Liang Yao catches her at the last moment and pulls her behind him, telling her he wants to introduce her to someone important. Liang Yao takes Momo to meet an investor who had seen her designs and was genuinely impressed. The investor expresses his interest in backing the company Liang Yao wants to build for her. Momo's heart fills with happiness. She looks at Liang Yao with clear affection and thanks him sincerely for always supporting her and standing by her side. Liang Yao then asks, "If that's how you feel, why were you avoiding me all this time?" Momo tries to deny it, pretending she wasn't avoiding him, but her flushed cheeks say otherwise. Later, one of Liang Yao's friends arrives and tells them that his uncle has an old warehouse he no longer uses, and they could start their project there. The group heads over, and although they're impressed by the size of the place, they're shocked by how dusty and dirty it is. Still, they decide to clean it up and make it their workspace. The next day, Xiao helps Momo pick out clothes, thinking she's getting ready for a date with Liang Yao. But when Momo arrives, she realizes it's not a date, they're actually going furniture shopping for the warehouse. After hours of searching and walking around, exhausted, Momo and Liang Yao collapse side by side on one of the display beds. They lie there quietly, exchanging tender glances, neither saying a word. A short while later, a store assistant approaches them and assumes they're a newlywed couple shopping to furnish their home. Embarrassed, Momo quickly gets up and leaves the store, her cheeks flushed. When she and Liang Yao arrive at the warehouse, they're stunned to see how beautifully their friends have cleaned the place. It's now a cozy, welcoming studio. Liang Yao even went ahead and put up a sign with the name of their brand, Unique. Curious, Momo asks why he chose that name. Liang Yao simply replies, "Because your designs are as unique as you." Momo blushes deeply, caught between joy and shyness, her heart beginning to open more and more. The next day, Liang Yao finally confesses to his friends that he has fallen in love with Momo, but he has no idea how to tell her. He starts practicing how he might confess, playing out different scenarios nervously. At the same time, Momo is talking with Xiao, expressing her worry that her feelings for Liang Yao might be one-sided, that maybe he only sees her as a close friend, especially after what he once said to Chen. But Xiao reassures her, saying she's certain Liang Yao loves her back, he just doesn't have the courage to admit it. She encourages Momo to be the one to take the first step, and not to let fear or shyness hold her back. The following day, Xiao comes up with a plan. She writes out a series of signs with sweet, love confession phrases on them and takes Momo to the basketball court. She explains that Momo should hold the signs up for Liang Yao when he arrives, it'll be her way of confessing. While Xiao is teaching Momo how to stand and what to do, one of Liang Yao's friends walks in. He sees the signs and completely misunderstands the situation, thinking Xiao is confessing her love to him. He lights up and immediately tells her he feels the same, that he's liked her for a long time. Xiao is caught completely off guard but blushes and eventually accepts his confession, admitting she had liked him too, quietly and from afar. At that moment, Liang Yao had finished decorating the warehouse with lights and flowers, preparing to finally confess his love to Momo. He stood with his back turned, waiting nervously. When he heard footsteps approaching, he assumed it was her and turned around, only to be surprised by the sight of his mother. She told him bluntly that she didn't believe in the success of the project he was working on, nor did she approve of his relationship with that girl. She added that she was sure Momo would reject him anyway, calling him old-fashioned and saying he couldn't even confess his love properly. Then, she left, leaving Liang Yao heartbroken and full of doubt, unsure whether she was right or how he would ever gather the courage to tell Momo how he felt. But then Momo walked into the room. She gently told him she had heard everything his mother said. She asked him not to worry, because she loved him too. She wrapped her arms around him, and both of them were overcome with joy, finally knowing their feelings were mutual. After that, they walked together for a long while until they reached near the university dorms. Momo told him she was tired and wanted to get some sleep. Just then, Chen showed up. Seeing them together, he couldn't help but feel jealous. But Liang Yao told him directly that Momo was now officially his girlfriend. Chen replied that Momo was dear to him and warned Liang Yao that if he ever hurt her, he would make him pay. Then he handed Momo an application form for a fashion competition and asked her to enter under his company's name. But she told him firmly that she would be entering under her own company's name. The next day, Liang Yao took Momo out on their first official date. They climbed to the top of a tall tower, but Liang Yao noticed that Momo seemed down. When he asked her what was wrong, she told him she couldn't find any inspiration for her designs. Liang Yao reassured her, telling her that he believed in her and her talent, and that he was sure she would come up with designs unlike anything the world had ever seen. His words lifted her spirits, and for the first time in a while, she started to believe in herself again. The following day, when Momo went to university, she found the same girl who Nian had once forced her to lie for now accusing Nian of stealing one of her designs. But Momo stood up for Nian, saying she was sure the design belonged to Nian because she had seen her create it while they were working together at their old company. She then warned the girl to admit the truth or she would expose her lies in front of everyone. Later, Liang Yao asked Momo how she could help Nian after everything she had done to her. Momo replied that it didn't matter if it was Nian or someone else, she simply couldn't stand injustice. She explained that her father had once been a famous fashion designer who won a prestigious award, only to be falsely accused of stealing someone else's design. The award was taken away, and from that day on, her father stopped designing completely. That's why she despised injustice with all her heart. On the other side, after the friends had finished their work and shut down the computer in the warehouse, the system suddenly turned back on by itself. It became clear that their system had been hacked. The friends rushed back to the place and began trying to take control of the hack before their work could be stolen. At the same time, Momo was still at university when Nian came up to her. She sincerely thanked Momo for standing up for her and apologized from the bottom of her heart for everything she had done in the past. She told her she would bring her some imported fabrics from abroad as a gift so she could use them to participate in the competition. Later, when Momo and Xiao arrived at the warehouse, they found all their friends in a terrible state. They were unable to stop the hack and looked defeated. Momo felt sorry for them and suggested to Xiao that they buy them some food, but Xiao told her that they were so discouraged, they probably wouldn't eat anything. Then she said she had a different idea. The two girls left and came back with clothes resembling idol stage outfits. They started dancing and singing in front of everyone while laughing, and soon, the rest of the group joined in. They all danced together, trying to lift each other's spirits and ease the tension they were feeling. The next day, Momo sees her own designs posted on the website of Chen's father's company. She immediately realizes what happened. Liang Yao rushes over to Chen and punches him, unable to understand how he could do something like that to his close friend. But Chen denies having anything to do with it. Liang Yao returns to Momo and tries to bring in new investors to make up for the ones they lost along with the stolen designs. However, everyone prefers to work with Chen's father's company. Liang Yao feels discouraged, but Momo gently holds his hand and tells him not to lose hope. She says she believes in him because he always supports her, and his presence in her life is more than enough. She doesn't need anything else. Meanwhile, Chen discovers that one of his father's employees was the one who stole the designs. When he confronts him, we learn that the thief is the same young man Momo once defended from bullies. He had since gotten a job at the company and wanted to take revenge on Momo and Liang Yao for what he believed they had done to him. The next day, Momo begins focusing on her competition designs, but the negative comments she's heard from others start to echo in her mind. She feels discouraged and starts thinking about postponing her participation until next year. As she leaves the room, Liang Yao walks in and notices one of her designs. He realizes just how talented his girlfriend is and that all she really needs is confidence in herself. Wanting to help, Liang Yao uploads Momo's older designs to social media. Later, Momo opens the site and is surprised to find countless positive comments about her work. Many young people are praising her talent, and girls are expressing their desire to buy her creations. With this overwhelming support, Momo regains her confidence. Later on, Chen asks to meet with Liang Yao. He explains everything that happened and sincerely apologizes. Then, he suggests a plan to save Momo's designs, by forming a collaboration between Momo's small company and his father's firm. They would publicly announce that the designs indeed belong to Momo, but that she's now working with them. Liang Yao agrees to the proposal in order to protect Momo's reputation. Shortly after, he receives a call. Momo is yelling at him for being late and tells him that she and all their friends are waiting for him on the rooftop of the warehouse. When Liang Yao arrives, he finds that everyone has prepared food and set up a barbecue party. In the middle of the celebration, he receives a phone call from his mother. She tells him that she saw his girlfriend's designs on Chen's father's famous company website and that she's now proud of both him and his girlfriend. She even expresses her acceptance of their relationship and invites them over for dinner so she can meet Momo. Liang Yao shares the news with Momo, filled with joy. In the final scene, we see Momo at the competition, preparing to present her design to the world. Liang Yao is her first model, and as she adjusts his outfit, she tells him how much she trusts him and how confident she is in their victory. Liang Yao then steps onto the catwalk alongside the other models, radiating confidence and charm. The audience is blown away by Momo's designs, and she ends up winning the grand prize of the competition. Momo takes the stage to give a speech. She reveals to the audience that she suffers from color blindness. Whether at university or at work, she was often mocked and told she could never be a fashion designer. But then someone came into her life, someone who believed in her, encouraged her, and pushed her forward. With his help and the support of all their friends, she was able to create her own fashion brand and win this competition. She thanks Liang Yao in front of everyone, calling him her boyfriend, then runs to him and embraces him with joy.